This conference will now be recorded.
I will call this planning and zoning meeting to order. If everyone will rise, we'll have an invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. We can come together and meet and do the town's business. Bless us with good ideas and listen to each other and just do your will. In your name I pray. Amen. Amen. State pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I need a motion for agenda approval. Basically, we have a public hearing is what our agenda is tonight.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. We have a minutes approval. We actually have three sets: July 6, 2021, August 3rd, 2021, and September 7th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve these minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of July 6, 2021, August 3, 2021, and September 7, 2021.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
My name is just still wrong on one of them if it matters. On September 7th.
What page is that? What set of pages?
First page on the first page of September 7th, the very bottom.
Oh, yeah. Next to last line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll fix that.
You see that?
Just I mean, if it was close, it'd be
Okay.
but it's not.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Public comments on agenda items. Obviously, we're here for a public hearing to rezone properties located at 210 Highway 17 North and a vacant lot behind it fronting Sandy Lane. I'll give you all the PIN numbers, but that would be boring. But it's currently zone C1, and the town has purchased this property, and they're requesting that it be rezoned to PL, which is public land. So I open the floor to any public comments. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Just your name and your address.
My name is Carol Roselli, 1010 Surf Pond Drive. I own lot 33 on Sandy Lake. Okay. Back in September 28, 2021, the town council meeting minutes under discussion, there was an update done on the town hall properties owned by Mr. Shanahan with the progress that's being done. Move in date approximately the 26th, 27th, and 28th, and states the rezoning of the property from commercial to public land is in process and should be completed in time for the move. And I feel that that statement being made, that it's making this hearing being a farce, to use just as formality, that the decision to purchase these properties and proceed with rezoning has already been decided regardless of expense and concerns of citizens and neighboring property and business owners. And I fervently object to this rezoning for the following reasons. One, no rezoning should be allowed until a complete step-by-step plan and full transparency of what, I don't know the full procedure, but is it a planning board, administrator Shanahan, and all representing agents of this project? What are they doing? How it impacts the neighboring properties and businesses? I haven't seen any of that put out there. Number two, specifically the Sandy Lane lot, which is falsely described on the hearing notification as a vacant lot, is fully wooded with oaks on it. And what is that lot going to be used for? What is allowed to be built next door to it once it has been rezoned public land? Is that going to be an issue? I have not seen any study of how rezoning to public land affects adjacent property values. And number four, my lot, number 33 next door, has been issued a stop work order and is in a lawsuit against the town of Surfside Beach, including Administrator Shanahan and all representing agents. Therefore, I object to this rezoning until this lawsuit is resolved. Additionally, why was there never information put out to the public, or like how I've gotten this notice of this hearing? Why was there never any notification of these purchases where people can step forward and say they object to these purchases? And that's it.
Thank you. Any other comments on the rezoning request? Ladies first.
Oh, no, let him go.
Come on.
Somebody.
I'll go.
There you go.
Bill Shanahan, 1011 Sable Pond Drive. And the reason we're asking to do this is because, because when the town purchased the property, and by our ordinance, when the town owns property, it needs to be done. Thank you.
Judy Hannon, 11th Avenue North. I agree with the statement by Mr. Shanahan. It is by ordinance. It should be converted to public land, and it should be an automatic deal. Whether you do it or whether the town council does it, it's immaterial. It will be public land because it's owned by the public. The deed says what? If you read the deed, it says it's owned by who? It's owned by the residents of Surfside Beach. So that's a done deal. Thank you.
My question to you is if, Chris Tammy, 715 Cedar Drive. My question is, after the purchase of this property, if we decide to sell this property back, can it be rezoned back into commercial once it's bought by the town? Or does it have to stay town property once it's purchased by the town? That's what I'd like to know.
Beth Coleman, 10th Avenue North. One thing that bothered me with Fig, and I don't know what her name is, but deciding who purchases any property is kind of weird to me. I mean, I don't get to tell the people next door to me who they can and cannot sell to. They could sell to a circus probably, I don't know. And some places they do, I think. So that part of it, I think, is a little concerning. But and also, if once it's sold and put into PL, it can convert back to commercial. So I don't think that's a concern at all, especially when you have concern over. And it just makes sense. I mean, why are we going to now try to disrupt this town any further by throwing things into the mix here. I mean, it is what it is, and buildings need to be fixed, and we purchased this property, and I think everybody did their homework, maybe not perfectly, but I hope in the interest of all the residents of Surfside Beach, that if you do not say that they need to go forward with this, like the count, I know you do the recommendation, but I know council can do whatever they want. They can take your recommendation or they don't have to. So hopefully they'll be listening tonight to everybody's point of view, everybody's, and make that decision based on that. Thank you for your service also.
Any other public comment?
Veronica Collins, 713 North Ocean Boulevard, Surfside. With no disrespect to the new owner of the lot adjacent to the side or wherever it was to the county building, I was advised that she purchased that with foreknowledge that the city was going to buy that property in an effort to make some kind of profit when in fact we have land and want to buy it from it. So my sympathies are not, I understand profit motive. I love to be capitalist. I'm a capitalist. But I don't want to subjugate the will of Surfside Beach for her profit motive. She'll probably make great profit out of it anyway. Good luck with that. Thank you.
You would never know.
Well, we bought our properties
Right.
a year
Our
prior.
Man,
Over a year
You're-
prior. Excuse.
yeah.
In that case, I apologize. I'm out of turn.
And when you pay $37,000 a year.
Excuse me.
Sir,
Sammy.
sir, you can, sir, when we get the public comments, you will have your time at the microphone. Thank you. Any other public comments on the rezoning request? Hearing none, I will close the public comment. Now to business item. Vote on the recommendation to send to council. Ms. Carroll.
Good evening. You all know me, but for anyone in the audience that hasn't been along for the ride thus far, I'm Carol Coleman. I'm with the Waccamaw Regional Council of Governments, and we are providing planning assistance to the town of Surfside Beach. So this falls under that. This is a request by the town to rezone the property from C1 Highway Commercial to Public Land, or PL. The two PIN numbers, if you want, I can read them out. I don't know if it'll help, but
For the record.
for the record, the front lot fronting on 17 is PIN 461-010-40063. The adjacent lot, which fronts on Sandy Lane, is 461-010-40017. And I included a map with your packet so you can see which one's which. Right now, the question over whether or not to rezone, I think it's been answered, is that per the ordinance, any land owned by the town of Surfside Beach is supposed to be zoned public land. So when they purchased the property and started moving forward, making changes, we had discussions about changing the zoning, and this was the quickest opportunity we could get in front of you. We actually rescheduled on one planning commission meeting to this date so that we could accommodate a schedule, knowing that I think next month was supposed to be on election day, so it moved it. But so it, to be decided, or what your recommendation is going to be, is whether or not to change the zoning on these two parcels so that they can meet the guides of the ordinance. One of the questions that was raised by the public was, could it be returned if the town walked away from the property someday in the future? Could it be rezoned to commercial? Per the language in the ordinance and all of the discussions surrounding creating that district, it could go back to the zoning district that was in place when it was changed, or it could go to another requested zoning district that any future owner would want to see. So the town of Surfside Beach purchased the two parcels listed above to relocate the town hall from the existing site because they have health-related issues with the buildings. They did a number of studies I understand, and this seemed to be the most economical end to those studies to relocate, because no matter what happens, if they were to clean these buildings or to redo this property, they have to move somewhere. So I wasn't part of that decision-making process at all. The only benefit I can see in the new location, not the only, but a benefit I can see right off the bat, is that they would be on the west side of 17, which means in the event of a hurricane or a storm event that causes evacuation east of 17, they would be able to stay in place if they wanted to, if they chose to. So the office building is currently located on property zone C1, which is the most permissive district we have. So everything they're doing currently within the office, prepare it to move into, is basically what I would refer to as upfix. They've been wiring it, putting in computer lines, alarm systems, painting, maybe doing some flooring work. All of that can be done regardless of what the zoning district is. None of that is contingent on it being rezoned. What's contingent on it being rezoned is the relocation of the town offices. So that's why this is in front of you now. So this includes parcels, the two parcels that I mentioned, and under previous decisions using the public land ordinance, I think it was 2019, they created the district and quote, to establish and preserve areas for the use of certain public purposes with the intent of being harmonious with surrounding districts and uses. That's their intent statement. They included in a rezoning after adopting the district a number of local, state, and federal lands in Ordinance 190904, changed about 37 parcels to public land. So if you look on the zoning map, there are a number of parcels that show up as public land now, and all of those are either owned by the town of Surfside Beach or another governmental entity. So like I said, the existing structure that's there now obviously meets the highway commercial district because it was built under that. So it meets all the setbacks, it meets all the requirements of zoning, and the proposed zoning district, it also meets that as well. So any changes that are being made would have to meet the new zoning district if they bring it in and permit it at the time. If they were to permit it now, they can do it under the current zoning district. But that's how they're moving forward with it. Because of the scheduling of trying to get into the new building, as Mr. Shanahan said, that's why it seems to have been fast tracked. I mean, it's up to town council to make the ultimate decision. You are recommending body, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I think everyone on the planning commission understands that it is town council that ultimately makes a decision. So I'm not telling you to vote one way or another way, and your vote is not wasted. Your recommendations are taken at face value and for consideration. So they do need your recommendation. They did need a public hearing to move forward. And they did give it first reading by title only. So I don't want to mislead you in any way, shape, or form. And that, I believe, was on October 11th. So they have another meeting scheduled next week. So with your recommendation and a second reading of the full ordinance, they could conceivably rezone the two parcels at that time. If you have any specific questions, I'll be glad to address them. If there's anything else I can tell you, it's somewhat straightforward. We've had some discussions about things outside of this, the nature of this before, but if you have any questions, just put them out there.
Out of curiosity, why is the post office not listed as public lands?
I actually question that.
Okay, and then I got one more.
Mhm.
We have all the beach accesses.
Mhm.
They belong to the town. Why are they not listed?
Those are rights of way. So they really shouldn't be zoned as any zoning district. Rights of way do not include land uses. The right of way is a right of way, it's a passage.
Okay.
So I did question when I actually researched I took a full look at this, and I think there's another parcel that wasn't public land, it's the library.
There is.
Is it?
I think it is.
Okay.
I'm looking at it.
Well, something down there that I expected to be public land is not, so I might have missed that one. But it could have been that, and I couldn't find this, I actually did go back through the archives, because you know how I love your archives. I did go back, they're on the website, so it's really interesting to go back and read them, and I do it a lot, because I have a lot. It could have been that the federal government did not want it to change, I don't know. I know there was some discussion at the time, because they've changed the level of the post office, and at some point it might go away. So I don't know if it was looking at it that way, but per the ordinance, I would think it would have been part of that rezoning with those other 37 parcels, but it was not included. I did look.
Hi, one thing. On item 7 on today's agenda, the pin ends in 5-3, and on one of the maps, it ends in 6-3. And then,
It's that way on the issue paper.
that's the, okay, yeah. So I just want to get that in. 5-3 is the correct ending, right?
Is it? I think it's 6-3.
6-3.
I think it's 6-3.
6-3 is the correct.
Because I actually pulled these directly off the map as I was doing.
It will matter in the motion.
Yeah, 6-3.
And just to solve one other issue, the reason that there's no address for the Sandy Lane parcel is because there's no building on it, there's no structure. No addresses are issued. I mean, we can look at the parcel and kind of guesstimate what the address could be, but no addresses are issued until we have building permits on properties. And as they're proposing to develop it, there wouldn't be a building on that property. It would be combined in with the front parcel, and that would all be one. I do have a draft where they looked at how they could develop the property. Because of course, obviously, the office building is what they need in one sense, but they also need a building like this. So that they had an architect kind of do a study to see if everything could work. And I've been in discussions with him and going through the ordinance, so I do have a copy of that if you'd like to see it.
That was my next question. Do we have to meet the overlay?
Yes.
We're okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Right now, I think there's definitely be some landscaping, but I think for right now, it's good. This is just a draft. This is not a building plan.
Yeah, because typically these buildings or, these lots are 75, 70-foot lots. And I would assume that's probably what this is.
That one is actually,
170.
I think it is about that.
Mhm. And it's deep, it's probably 225 from what I can see today. They're making sure that we had room to build whether it be a civic center or a meeting center.
So on this, if you look just above the R, that's a sketch of what would be a community center / court. Now, they're not proposing to put an office on that, and apparently the way they've assessed the existing building, that the office is close enough to the existing building that it could be located within the building, and the storage area within the building would allow them to store records there as well. Again, this is not a final, this is just a rough draft.
That building is approximately, 28 years old?
I think so.
It is. We had our public records over in the old Public Works building.
Mhm.
We had an issue with the fact that that building was only wind zone tested to 70 miles an hour. So we had majority of our sensitive records in that building for a long time till we built a fire station. So it's just curious, because of the age of that building, it's a wind zone, has that been tested?
I can't answer that. I haven't looked at the building records of it.
Okay.
I know that you would have that, is there already a vault in it?
No, their safe's gonna be placed in there.
Any other questions? I think obviously, like you said, we're a recommending body. The fact that this is publicly owned by the town now.
Mhm.
Prior to 2019, we had no rules. We had 30 odd pieces of property owned by the town. There's probably 20 different zoning.
Mhm.
So now we're on pace to make sure that all of our public land is in one neat little package. And like I say, 4 or 5 years from now, we decide to sell it, rebuild on this site. Just a matter of the new property owner making a petition to whether it be C1 or whatever they want to put on that property. So things don't work out exactly the way we want it. I understand the urgency and the safety of our employees, get them out quick as possible. I like to think our opinion will mean something, so I'm in favor of the rezone. Nothing does. I was just going to say my piece. You got-
I can say my piece now, or I can say it after.
You just say you can have to write it down and say it later.
I can say my piece now or after we have a motion.
Whatever you guys want to do. We just need a motion either way, and then we can have more discussion. But I can't make a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I will make the motion that the properties located, that we recommend to council that the property is located at 210 Highway 17 North. You want me to say the numbers?
Let's do, since it's different on the issue
I
sheet.
believe it's 461010400063,
Correct.
and the vacant lot behind fronting Sandy Lane, the PIN number 461010400017, from highway commercial C1 district to public land district.
I'll second it. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I think this whole thing has shown some disregard for the process that the town has established in its ordinances, in that I don't believe if Horry County had decided to set up business in that property, that we would have let them get this far down the road before we made the rezoning. I think we need to pay better attention to our own processes. But having said that, at this point, any objection by planning commission would just be an arbitrary obstruction to moving the town employees out of harm's way. And I have no intention of doing that. We need to move on with this, and I will vote for it.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the vote, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. We will now have public comments. Thank you, Carol. Any public comments? Seeing none, I'll move. I'm not sure what this is. It says staff report.
That's just,
I don't know. I don't do the agenda.
You got another report?
I apologize. I just wanted to give you a potential of something we're going to probably get an application for. And this one is a little bit different. It's like when you just heard, we've got 2 parcels on the north end on, I might have even talked to you about it, on 17th Avenue North. That one has one apartment building and abuts Ocean Lakes. The same family owns the property across the street that has, I think, 6 apartment buildings. They've been approached about trying to rezone that parcel, and from everything I can find, it's zone PDD or was zone PUD. This is one that I actually did go through every agenda and every set of minutes going back to 1963 and read everything I could find to see if it was actually ever zoned as a planned unit development or a planned development district. It appears it may have been done because the apartment buildings predated the zoning ordinance. And that they didn't want additional multifamily in that area. They wanted to stick to single family. But be that as it may, that's what's on the maps, and that's everything I've been able to find to date. So I just wanted to show you where it is in the event that we do get a full application. They've sent it back and forth, and the proposal is, and in my opinion, as a planner, there could be a possibility of adding a new use to that PUD, if that's what it is, to change it from an apartment building to something, what they're asking for, just to expand the rental golf cart business that is located within Ocean Lakes, and their long-range plan is to annex a commercial property on the frontage of Highway Commercial to expand it and have it outside of Ocean Lakes as well, because they have so many people that go in and out of the campground to rent golf carts. And the only way I thought they might get that as a use there is if it's part of a PUD, because then you can put the control measures in place. That it has to be fully screened, it can't be visible from the street, from the right of way. But anyway, I just wanted to give you this in advance so that if the application comes in, you've got something you can work with.
And the question was, the PUD is between 16th and 17th.
It's also, and you'll see it on the
This
map.
unit that you're talking about is actually on the north side of 17th. So the question was, is the umbrella, does it stretch over 17th Avenue North?
It does on the zoning map.
Right?
So
Did you find a PUD document?
there is no PUD document, but that's not the only one we have like that.
I know.
And that's not unusual. I've seen that in Horry County, in Georgetown County, and City of Georgetown. Some of these things are so, and it used to be that the PUD document might only be the plan that was recorded at the time, but we can't really find anything on that. And obviously, we're not going to find building plans at this late. But the family said that they don't have a problem with, and you can see very good.
Yeah.
He's good.
So is there talk of the county annexing that from the town?
Well, the county wouldn't do it, the property owner would. And I think that's been put on hold, but the property owners are still interested in leasing or selling the property for expansion of the storage use. And that part is in the town.
Yeah, are we putting it out of the town?
No. It could, they could do it. They could have most of it be in the county and have additional storage outside. We do allow outdoor storage, but it does have to be fully screened. It can't be salvage materials, but like for something like this, you could have outdoor storage. In this case, what they would do is expand the fence, and you can see it in the aerial on page 1. You can see where it would cross over. And of course, same thing applies within the other land. They'd have to put forth a plan for redevelopment. And we'd look at it for the trees and everything else. But it looks like there's a pretty good cover, but there's a good sized building on there and parking.
Yeah, it's the same size as the one inside the PUD.
Mhm. But I was concerned, the only reason I want to get it to you up front is just that I like, anytime we do anything with a PUD anywhere, that's a specialized zoning district, it's basically customized zoning. And before we do anything with it, I want to make sure that everything is, that's a great one for transparency right there.
Would that application come back to us before there's a decision made, or are you making the decision based on what you just found?
No, if they put in a full application, I would bring it to you.
There's a building in front of it.
Mhm.
That already belongs to them, does it not?
It belongs to someone who's on the board of Ocean Lakes Campground.
Okay.
And if they were to annex it in, then they would have a legitimate business concern. And I could see it working better if it was all annexed and contiguous and all connected. But if it just comes in with the family trying to do something with this property, then I wanted to make you aware of what you might be seeing.
Good, thank
Don't
you.
have to make a decision yet, just want to make you aware.
Yeah.
This is a very different one. Thank you.
All right. Any commission comments?
So this was a rubber stamp, that's all it amounts to. The council had already made up the plans, and all we're doing is rubber stamping what they wanted to do.
Any other comments? Thank you, public, for your input, and I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.